Hello everyone, welcome to the Daily Market Commentary. I am your co-host, Charlie Fulkerson, joined by the Initiative, Daddy Fulkerson.
Initiative? Charlie, you're picking up words that I don't even know the name to. Hey everybody, welcome to the Daily Market Commentary. I have an amazing co-host with me today. So for those of you that are catching us in the morning, it's your first time, it's normally just one, but today we have two. What we do each and every day is we look at the same 10 to 12 futures markets, identifying potential turning points and breakout trades. So make sure you click the subscribe button below so that you can get access right away. So I'm going to have Charlie's going to join me today, where we talk about a couple of different areas, couple of different levels. So let's go ahead and dive right in. The first one that we're going to look at is the ES. Now, in the ES, we had a breakout trade down below that the market came screaming down to. And some of you may have gotten filled on this one. Actually, this is my second time trying this recording today, so the line was a bit higher. Some of you may have gotten filled on this one, and if you did, it was a short fake out. This trade was unable to hold. This is really what I like to see for a breakout trade is that basing just when we come out to here. But now we have rallied up from that area, and we've come back to what we would normally consider the top of a slide. And if we get to the top of a slide, who usually takes over at the top of a slide, Charlie? The bulls or the bears?
Bears.
That's right. The bears normally are the ones that would come back in at the top of a slide. So we've made our way back to this high point right here. Now, if I look at that area on a 4-hour chart, what we'll see is that this area is really the retest of this area here. So now what we're doing is we're just chopping along between these different areas. And so while I would normally say that the bears would take over here, and this would be a potential reversal, because this is not the original move down, it's not the origin of the slide. And with Charlie, I learned the game slides and mountains, and so we're looking for the tops of slides and the bottom of mountains. It's not the origin of the slide down, and so I'm not going to be looking to take this position. So I'm going to take this one completely off the table. We're not going to use this area. So our next area is really up here, and it's in purple, so it's found on a 15-minute chart. I'm going to leave this line down in on this one. And the reason for that is because though we pierced just a hair in the ES, we didn't in the NQ. And so the level is still a valid breakout potential for a short. So I certainly wouldn't want to short it until we get below this area. And as a matter of fact, I might even take this and move it down just a smidge based on our breakdown yesterday. I still think that this is a valid breakout level to the downside if we break below it. I'm going to keep and kind of hold strong to that. But if we do break above it, looking at this on a 4-hour chart, our next area still comes into play somewhere up here. So we're kind of chopping in between. This is what I like to call tough sledding. I said it yesterday, that we want to look for those areas where there's better opportunities. So when we get back to those reversals, we'll be better off. Now, looking here at crude oil. Now, here in crude oil, we had the beginning of a very strong move higher. So this is kind of what we would consider the bottom of a mountain. So, Charlie, who takes over at the bottom of a mountain? Who's going to come in at the bottom of mountains?
Bulls.
That's right. The bulls come in at the bottom of mountains. So we do have a little potential reversal right here. Now, the thing about this reversal is that I keep hitting the wrong button as my Twitter keeps going off on me, is that we have this reversal right here, strong move up. Now, the thing I don't love about this is the time of the day that it was created. It's right around the London Open, which is a bit better, but I'm also going to add this area right here. Now, this area right here is kind of in the middle of this move up, and so by being in the middle of this move up, it's not quite as high degree of probability. So what I'm going to do is change this to a dashed line, and remember that a dashed line simply means that we are looking for price to enter into the level, and then we will get long as it comes out of the level. So I've got a dashed line on my crude oil trade right in through here. Next, let's look at gold. So gold, we had a short setup on gold. Price gave us a touch. we moved away. I said yesterday it's maybe time to take some profits off the table. So hopefully you were able to take some profits off the table. And then it has since moved away. So now we've come back to an area that could act as a potential reversal somewhere up in here. But I'm going to come all the way to this high, which is what we call the top of a slide, right, Charlie?
Yeah.
So if it's the top of a slide, what do we, who's going to take over at the top of a slide?
The bears.
That's right. The bears take over at the top of the slide. So we would look for this area up here. Now, the thing I like about this area is it's a very strong move down. There was a lot of momentum to this move down. Now, I think there's room to run up to this area. So what you could do is, if you're so inclined, and you wanted to take a bit of a breakout, especially since this last hourly chart, we had this wick up and then price came down. You know, we could get a little bit of a breakout above this area right here. So just above this 1342 region, you could get a little bit of a breakout trade because we seem to just have bounced off that area a few times. Let's take a look real quick at our bonds. So looking at our bond markets. Now, the bond markets are getting closer and closer together. So when I say that they're getting closer and closer together, what I mean is just this. We have a swing high, a swing high, a swing high, and a swing high. So each one of these highs, if you look at each one of these peaks are getting lower and lower and lower. And each one of these bottoms are getting higher and higher and higher. So Charlie, if you were to look at this, what shape would that be? What shape did we just draw? What shape is that?
A sideways triangle.
That's a sideways triangle. And oftentimes when we get a sideways triangle, what we're going to see is that the market will bounce out one way or the other, and it can move out pretty violently. So right now I don't have a strong trade set up in place, but typically if we do get that breakout, we're going to get a fairly decent move one way or the other. So you can have a setup on here. And I think if we break out to the downside, I think it's a very realistic expectation that price would trade at least down into this region right here. So kind of keep that area in mind. Looking at the Aussie. So the Aussie has almost reached this level that we identified yesterday, which is the top of a slide, right? And so we know who's going to take over at the top of a slide.
Bears.
That's right. So bears would take over. So this would be a selling opportunity. However, I don't like the arrival into this area. So what we notice is that it's chopping along right down here just below entry. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to change this to a dashed line. And that dashed line even scares me a bit just because of the weak entry. I'd be looking to take profits fairly quickly. So keep that in mind. I'm kind of changing my entry on this. So let's look at our euro trade. Now the euro, look at how price came up into here. Here's why we have a dashed line. In the Aussie, we just changed this to a dashed line because I didn't like the arrival. Well, notice in the euro, we have a dashed line and price has already come up and blown through it. Well, since we've blown through it, that means that we should never have gotten filled on this trade if you're following the rules. Rules. So I can no longer use that area. That area is no longer going to be valid for me. However, I can use the origin of this breakout for a potential retest. So if I get the potential retest, I'd find that right here. And this would be just before a big move up, and this could be the start of a mountain. And at the start of the mountain, who's going to take over again, Charlie? You know.
The bulls.
The bulls. I think most 6-year-olds at least would like to know the difference in the bulls and the bears. So let's look at the Canadian dollar. Now, the Canadian dollar, we had a short set up right up in this area here. Price rallied up into here. We had a very nice arrival, and then it got here, and it was weak before then popping up through the area, and this one is definitely a stop out for a loss. So I'm going to take this one completely off of our charts, as we will not be using that Canadian dollar level going forward. Still have a number of levels down below us, and then some way up above us, but nothing really to add to today. Last and certainly not least, so we had our Great British Pound. Now, our Great British Pound, we had a breakout long set up in play. So this breakout occurred, and we are getting a nice run out of our Great British Pound breakout. So it is continuing its march higher. At this point, I would definitely take my stop and at least lock in some profits, maybe even move it up to below this 41.93 region. Japanese yen, our Japanese yen level, we have a setup in here, and this is one where sometimes the dashed line bites you because we didn't get filled on this one as it didn't trade into the level enough, and now it's continuing its move down. But the dashed line saved us on the nat gas trade as it broke below our level and then did I guess it would be a gap fill before then rallying higher. So nat gas, we've got to remove this area, but this is why we use the dashed lines. So think about that. That's 3 trades today where the dashed lines and the confirmation style saved us from a stop out. Stopped us from getting in on one trade, but it saved us from a stop out on some of the others. So that's all I have for today. I want to thank my co-host Charlie for joining me today. So Charlie, do you have anything else to say to people? Do you want to just say goodbye and tell them to have a great day? What kind of day is it going to be today, Charlie?
A great day.
All right.
See ya. See ya. Thanks. Charlie joined by the initiative. Daddy Fulkerson.
You're 6 years old. I don't think you know what that word means. But thank you so much, everybody. Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow. Later.